You're watching Conference USA men's basketball on ESPN+. After splitting their first two games in year one in Conference USA, New Mexico State returns home for their first of two at home this week. Tonight, the Aggies host red-hot Western Kentucky here at the Pan American Center. The Hilltoppers have won 9 of 10, and they boast the top offense in Conference USA. Along with former Aggie assistant Russ Bradburn, Adam Young on hand, Tatiana Favela with us as well. Aggies have been very good at home, Russ. They're 7-1 in this building this year, trying to stay hot at home against two really good opponents this week.
That's right, and as you mentioned, Western Kentucky's won 9 of their last 10. Their only loss is at Sam Houston, who's leading the league right now, and they have maybe the best backcourt we'll see all year.
WKU averaging almost 80 points per game, which is first in Conference USA. Our keys to the game are presented by the El Paso Las Cruces Chevy dealers, Russ.
Adam, the Aggies have been so close so many times. There's been times when they had the game won with 3 minutes to go and just can't quite seem to finish. So they need to finish strong. They need to move the ball on offense. The offense works better as the ball moves like a hot potato. And finally, Don McHenry and Brandon Newman are as good as we're going to see. McHenry may be the best point guard in the league, and Brandon Newman may be the best all-around player, the Purdue transfer, so it should be a heck of a matchup tonight.
Hilltoppers coming off an 11-point comeback win last weekend at home at Diddle Arena against Jacksonville State. And as Russ mentioned, the backcourt is very good for first-year head coach Steve Lutz. Don McHenry, the top scorer for the Hilltoppers, averages 15 a game. That is good for second best in Conference USA. Christian Lander, a transfer from Indiana. Babacar Faye will start in the front court. He's out of Senegal. And then Brandon Newman, who's in from Purdue, and Tyrone Marshall Jr., a JUCO transfer, who is tied for second in CUSA in blocks with 23 this year. Jason Hooten's squad has won 2 of their previous 3. They're going to be without Jalen Jackson-Posey tonight. He's out with a foot injury. So the starting 5 is Isiagu, Rawls, the former Hilltopper, Cook, Suggs, and Carpenter. The top scorer for New Mexico State is Femi Odukali. He will come off the bench for the 6th consecutive game. So no Jalen Jackson-Posey, Russ. That is a big loss, especially defensively for the Aggies. Jason Hooten felt like he was turning into one of the best backcourt defenders around the conference.
Yes, he was long-armed and quick and smart, and it's a big loss for the Aggies tonight.
It is a foot injury for Jackson-Posey, and he is unavailable tonight and this weekend as well. There's a look at Jalen. It's going to be Babacar Faye to tip it up with Casey Isiagu. WKU second in the country in adjusted tempo. We're going to talk about that as we go along. They average 75 possessions per 40 minutes. Russ, they want to make this a track meet. Jason Hooten wants to slow it down and make the Hilltoppers work in their half-court offense.
That's right. And now whether Jason Hooten can do it or not, I'm not sure, but they're averaging nearly 80 points a game. They're a very explosive team offensively.
Rick Crawford, Jeb Hartness, and Michael Greenstein, the crew tonight. Aggies looking for their 8th home win. They have not won a road game, but they've been awfully good on top of Lou Henson Court. Hilltoppers in the red, the Aggies in the home whites. The students are back, the crowd is good, and we are set for CUSA basketball. The Hilltoppers and Don McHenry will have the first possession offensively. Newman, the transfer from Purdue, swings it for Tyrone Marshall. Here's Babacar Faye. Backdoor, mishandled by Marshall, stolen by Cook. 3 for Suggs. Too strong. Carpenter, the offensive rebound. And he traveled as he fell down as he was trying to toss it for a teammate.
Well, when Carpenter goes to the offensive boards, he's very effective, Adam. I like the way he went after that one.
Aggies, of course, coming off a 10-point setback on the road last Thursday against FIU. It was a game in which they trailed by as many as 17 and then cut it down to 2 with 4 minutes left. Made it a game late. Steal for Suggs. 2 early turnovers on the Hilltoppers. Here is Jordan Rawls, the former Hilltopper who spent 2 different stays in Bowling Green. Was there twice. Carpenter straight on. Isiagu trying to tip it in. Grabbed by Tyrone Marshall. And then Christian Lander couldn't catch it. 3 turnovers are in Steve Lutz's squad.
And I'm looking at him for Jordan Rawls, who's playing his old team, not to do too much too soon, yet he's going to have to step up without Jalen Jackson Posey in the lineup. So he's going to have to walk a fine line, I think, between trying to do too much and covering up for Jalen Jackson Posey's injury.
It was 88 career games at WKU for Rawls, who goes head of the key for Carpenter. Down the lane, has a floater, drop in. And the Aggies score first. Robert Carpenter, who averages 10 a game. As Russ mentioned, the backcourt really good for WKU. A number of Power 5 transfers, including Lander, whose layup is pinned off the backboard. That is goaltending on the Aggies. It was not going to go in. The Aggies bail out Lander.
I'm not sure he would have made this one.
Now, that was way short, and Carpenter had no reason to slap it off the backboard.
Of course, he wouldn't have known that. He was in the right place. He was in the right place, but he just timed his jump a little bit late.
Suggs is held by Newman, no call. Barrels down the lane, blocked off the backboard. Hilltoppers want to run, per usual. Lander adjusts in midair, and he will shoot 2 free throws.
Well, Christian Cook did all he could there. He sort of jumped backwards and tried to get out of the way. Maybe came down at the end there.
And that is exactly what the Hilltoppers want to do. Made basket or miss basket, they want to get out and run. Suggs was poked in his eye on his block shot on the other end. Lander, a smooth lefty from Evansville, Indiana, former top 30 recruit nationally. And he's a transfer from IU, played for the Hoosiers. Aggies averaging 70 points per game, which is second worst in Conference USA. Well below WKU, they average almost 80. Rawls, backdoor, over through Suggs. Picked up by Newman. Sloppy start on both sides. Post entry for Fay, and he's run over by Casey Isiagu.
When Casey Isiagu bumps into you, boy, it's serious stuff. I hope Fay has a collision insurance.
First foul on Isiagu. Lander will enter. Lobs it in for Tyrone Marshall. Hilltoppers 13-4. They have won 9 of 10. Had a really good non-conference season. Lander going to work on Rawls. Finger roll good. Crafty finish for the transfer from IU.
They have 2 left. Both McHenry and Landers are lefties. It's the first time we've seen that this year, I think.
Aggies want to avoid a slow start like last Thursday. So far, it's been a slow start as Rawls misfires on the teardrop. They got into a big hole a week ago in Miami. Lander slings it out for Marshall. 32% three-point shooter, misses shallow, and Suggs pulls it in. Aggies need to find a rhythm on this end. Slow start offensively, 1 for 4, with a turnover as well. Rawls popping out Carpenter from the corner. Backside Lander, he'll push for WKU. No shot attempt so far for McHenry, the top scorer. Dump off to Fay, and he finishes with contact. Now you have to wonder, Russ, if Jason Hooten is thinking about a timeout here. Slow start on offense, especially.
I'd say we'll see a timeout here in a second, and it might be coming right now.
Stolen. Newman bounces for Fay. Marshall lays it in. 10-2, Western Kentucky. Jason Hooten trying to get Femi Odukali in the game. He's at the scorer's table, but can't check in until the next dead ball. Suggs defended by Newman. Cook on the curl, straight on. That's his shot right there. He misses short. And the slow start continues. McHenry lost the handle, scooped it up, straight on three for Marshall. Pinballs away, and Cook rises high for the board. Cook thought about it. Pull-up jumper from the baseline, swirls away. Iziagu up close. He missed it short. Squirts away out of bounds, and the Aggies will get it when we come back. A much-needed media timeout. NM State trails by 8 out of the gates against one of the best offensive teams at the mid-major level. We're back to Lou Henson Court after this.
Welcome back to the Pan American Center. New Mexico State is back at home for the first time in 2 weeks, and they're going to try to continue that winning streak at home, which includes a 10-point win against UTEP in their Conference USA opener. Now, in one of the most complete performances of the season, Jason Hooten's squad out-rebounded UTEP by 13 and made their free throws down the stretch to pick up a big conference home win against their rival. The victory improved the Aggies to 7-1 at home, with the only home loss coming by 1 point against UNM. Now the Aggies are at home for 4 of their next 6 games, including 2 times this week. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Tatiana. Russ, this has been an awfully slow start, and if you're Jason Hooten during that huddle, you're probably telling the guys, hey, we couldn't start much worse, right?
No, that's right, but he quickly got Femi Odukale in the game. There's another, Christian Cook normally makes that shot in his sleep, and we've got Jaden Harris in the game as well. But yeah, Aggies off to a very rocky start here against a very good team.
Yeah, perfectly drawn up play by Jason Hooten right there, getting the shot he wanted. Backdoor pass intended for Newman. It was touched by Odukale, so it's going to stay with WKU. As Dante Allen comes in for Brandon Newman for first-year head coach Steve Lutz.
Dante Allen, the former Mr. Basketball in Kentucky.
Yeah, played impressive. For UK for 3 years as well. This transfer group is loaded, isn't it, for the Hilltoppers, Russ?
Yes. Yeah, it's an impressive group for Steve Lutz. Of course, had tremendous success at Texas A&M Corpus Christi.
That's the first shot attempt for McHenry. An offensive rebound. Step back three is good for Lander. Well, right now for the Hilltoppers, they lead 13-2, yet their top scorer has not scored and has only attempted 1 shot. So this is pretty much best case scenario for WKU. The Aggies haven't scored in 4.5 minutes. Kanyanga going to work on Howard. He ducks underneath and lays it in.
He's kind of slippery. He's given the Aggies good minutes. He's in a limited role. He's been very effective all year.
Rodney Howard can't catch. Jaden Harris picks it up.
And that was Jonathan Kanyanga's defense there really frustrated Rodney Howard.
Odukale to the rim. His layup misfires. He blew it up close. Those are pretty good looks right now for New Mexico State across the board. McHenry, his floater no good. Good box out by Odukale, but he touched it last, and WKU is going to stick with it.
Well, Femi's in there battling. He didn't come up with that one, but he's a pretty good hustler.
Hilltoppers, a really good rebounding team. Not great on the O-glass, but really good defensive rebounding. That was an impressive move by Kanyanga, who doesn't score much.
Well, he's a matchup problem for that because he's a little bit undersized for a center, but he's usually quicker than the guy who he's up against. He's usually smaller, but he's usually quicker as well.
Foul is called before the pass. This will go on Tanaj Petway, who just came in for Jason Hooten. Now Petway coming off his best game as an Aggie, season high 14 points in just 13 minutes last Thursday in Miami. And you would have to think Petway will get some more minutes with the injury to Jalen Jackson-Posey right now. Post touch for Howard. That's too easy for the transfer from Georgia Tech. Another Power 5 transfer for Steve Lutz.
Well, Kanyanga got a little bit on the wrong side of him, and as the ball moved, he couldn't adjust quickly enough.
Odukale trying to direct traffic, guarded by Enoch Kalembe. This is a possession so far where nobody else has touched it. Finally, Petway on the catch, under 10 to shoot. Petway to the rim, good body control. +1 for Petway, the transfer from Stony Brook.
Well, this is the puzzle for Femi Odukale to solve. Adam, is, that was 15 dribbles there, and that's not going to do it. But he is making occasionally, he makes good things happen, but he's got to be selective about when to dribble and when to pass.
There's been times this year, Russ, where Tinaj Petway's been instant offense. Goes back to his first game as an Aggie when he scored 6 points in only a handful of minutes.
Yes, he's made big baskets in his limited time. I think they're expecting him to have an increased role as the year goes on.
Now we're to see Yak Yak, number 14 in white, who did not play in the previous 4 games. So right now, Jason Hooten just trying to find some guys who can catch a rhythm on both ends of the floor. It's been a really slow start here. Aggies down 9 in the first 7 minutes. Marshall lost it and traveled with it. Interesting.
I'm impressed with Marshall, though. He does a lot more than he's more than just a big guy. He's pretty skilled. He's a good shooter. He can really run the floor, and he can put the ball on the floor. He can dribble pretty well. But Steve Lutz didn't like that turnover.
Marshall goes off. Newman back in. Aggies going with Petway, Cook, Yak Yak, Harris, and Femi Odukale. So a lot of the starters on the bench right now. The only starter who is still in is Cook. Harris, pull-up jumper. Missed it short. Aggies 3 for 14 from the field. Lander step back 3. Swirls away and Harris clears. Odukale defended very well. Good verticality shown by Kalambe. Right now the Hilltoppers +6 with their rebound margin. Corner 3 for Dante Allen, way short.
Well, Jason, I thought the Aggies needed to finish strong tonight, but maybe I should have said they need to start strong tonight. They just can't seem to get untracked offensively.
It's a similar start to last Thursday, but also last Thursday, FIU couldn't miss from 3 in the first half, and they made 10 first half threes. Odukale, 2 chances at it. 3 for 17 from the field now. And this is that pace for Western Kentucky. It's 1 pass and it's a shot, and that 3 is good for Dante Allen, which will prompt a timeout that will turn into the media. So Jason Hooten has seen enough. The Hilltoppers shooting 54%. New Mexico State only 19%. Hilltoppers up a dozen on the road. Good crowd tonight inside the Jag and Linda Chima Suites here at the Pan American Center. Hilltoppers with their biggest lead early on. They lead by a dozen on the road as the Aggies return home for their first of 2 here at home this week. Sports Accessories is the official licensed merchandise provider for the Aggies. They have the best Aggie gear in town at the best price. You can check out their showroom right here in town in Las Cruces, or you can also visit the online store at theaggieshop.com. Russ, right now on offense, do you feel like the Aggies are getting the looks they want?
Well, they've missed shots they should make. Big Casey Asiagu missed a 1-footer by about 8 inches, and Femi's missed a couple layups that he would normally make. So I think it's just a matter of time till things start falling for them. But it's frustrating, and getting behind against a very good team like this is not going to help the Aggies' chances.
And the 3 out of the timeout earlier that Cook attempted. It's not automatic, but he usually makes it. Petway out of the timeout connects from long range.
Well, there it is, and a nice pass by Femi that time.
So now for the second straight Thursday, Tinaj Petway, the spark plug offensively off the bench. It's a tough shot there for Kalambe. Isiagu snatches it in. This one is far from over. Odukale swings it for Petway. Quick release. The transfer from Stony Brook. 2 in a row.
Boy, and he's really finding his rhythm. He was terrific in Miami against Florida International. The Aggies nearly had that game won.
Howard a jump hook, slips off. Isiagu battling for it. Carpenter rips it in. And now the Aggies have to find Petway. Slithering is Odukali. Back to Petway. Back to Odukali. Passes up the corner three. Petway, straight on. Way short. Isiagu banks it in.
We'll count that as a pass from Petway. Aggies finding a little bit of momentum here.
An 8-0 Aggie run. And a foul before the shot is called on Odukali. Now, Russ, I'm sure Petway is on the scout for WKU, but he's probably towards the bottom, right? I'm sure Steve Lutz's staff wasn't talking a whole lot about Tanaj Petway when they were reviewing the scout.
No, but he, as you remember, he joined the Aggies late, and he wasn't here all fall like everyone else. I think he's going to keep getting better and better. But, Adam, this is maybe the most seasoned Division I team that we've seen, with transfers from Georgia Tech and Indiana and Kentucky and Purdue. There's some big-time transfers here. This isn't a team that's going to collapse, be intimidated at the Pan Am Center like so many teams are.
Newman from the wing. Petway the rebound. Rawls, Petway, Isiagu, Carpenter, and Harris. Petway has 8 to the Aggies' 14. Now they're running plays for Petway. Petway on the curl. Finds Rawls from the corner. Carpenter got a hand on it and then pulled in by Babacar Faye. Newman spins in to help defense, and Carpenter thought he was vertical. Newman will get free throws.
Well, we'll have to look at that again. It looked like, to me, like Carpenter had pretty good position. Newman is so strong and quick.
Newman spins off the free throw. Transfer from Purdue. Season high 25 points last Saturday in the comeback win against Jacksonville State.
And this is a young man who started 25 games at Purdue last year. One of the top 10 teams in the country all year.
Scoreless drought of over 2 minutes is snap. Now, when Newman was at Purdue early on, that's when Steve Lutz was an assistant. So 2 stops ago, he was an assistant at Purdue. And he had a 2-year stint as the head coach, very successful at Texas A&M Corpus Christi, now in his first year in Bowling Green at WKU. He's a man who waited a long time for his turn as a D1 head coach. As Carpenter misses the 3, Harris rises for the rebound. Put back is good for Jaden Harris.
Friendly bounce by Jaden Harris. Remember, we loved his athleticism and his toughness early in the season. Maybe tonight will be his night with Jalen Jackson Posey out hurt.
Newman travels. Jaden Harris, Russ, only averaging 8 minutes per game in his previous 3, but there's more minutes to be had now with the injury to Jackson Posey. And so we're seeing Harris and also Petway take advantage of those minutes here tonight.
And Jalen Jackson Posey may be hurt, Adam, but he's jumping up and down as if he's going to get in the game any minute now. He's leading the cheers. It reminds me what a good kid he is.
Believe it or not, the Aggies with a chance to tie on this possession with a 3. They're shooting 30%. They've trailed by as many as 12. Playing much better during this stretch as Petway glides to the rim. I think he turned his ankle. He was fouled. I think they're going to give him shots. Petway limping a bit. He was twisted around. I think he's okay, though.
He's going to walk it off a little bit here, it looks like.
Russ, did you see this coming at some point with Petway where he could score in bunches like this?
No, not at all. Not at all. Well, it was hard to judge him. He was like practically right off the airplane, and we had to stick him in a game, and it was really hard to judge. And he's not from a big school like Purdue or Kentucky like some of the Hilltoppers. He's from Stony Brook. Is that it?
Yeah.
SUNY Stony Brook. who's Division I, of course, but hasn't been Division I for very long. But yeah, he's made a huge impact.
Russ, he's in double figures. 10 now for Petway. What a turnaround. Lander for 3. Fay the rebound and scooped up by Jaden Harris.
Really bailed out the Aggies there by getting the loose ball.
Carpenter left it short. Pretty good body control, and WKU fighting for it amongst 2 teammates, Fay and Newman.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was sort of a jumping sideways lefty jump hook. Wasn't really a great shot for Carpenter, who usually takes good shots.
This is the way the Hilltoppers play. 1 pass and a shot. Harris cross court. Aggies now 2 for 11 from deep.
But see, this is the danger, Adam, is that the Aggies just did what the Hilltoppers did at the other end, the quick shot, and I don't know that they want to fall into a track meet with the Hilltoppers.
Babacar Faye, the Senegal native, will shoot 2 free throws when we come back. The lead for WKU, which was once a dozen, has dwindled down to 1 because of Tanaj Petway. 10 off the bench, and now it's a 1-possession game here at Lou Henson Court.
Welcome back to the Pan American Center. I'm Tatiana Favela back with you here tonight. 2 of the best mid-major programs over the last 20 plus years are matching up for their first 2 as conference foes in Conference USA, and the expectations in the preseason around the league were different for the 2 programs. In year 1 in CUSA, the Aggies were picked 8th in the conference preseason poll, while WKU earned a pair of first place votes and were picked to finish 3rd, right behind Liberty and Middle Tennessee. While it's still very early in conference play, things have shaken out different so far, with Liberty and Middle Tennessee both still winless in league play. Coming up on Saturday night, the Aggies will host Middle Tennessee right here at the Pan American Center. Back to you guys.
Good stuff. Thank you, Tatiana. Yeah, right now, Russ, this league is upside down. Middle Tennessee winless. As Tatiana mentioned, Liberty winless. Sam Houston undefeated with a first-year head coach, Chris Mudge. I mean, the way that things looked in the preseason poll, totally different so far early on.
Yeah, it's topsy-turvy. And that bodes well for the Aggies that anything can happen.
Outside of the scoring spurt by Petway during this recent 5 or 6 minute stretch, what else has changed for the Aggies?
Well, they've out-rebounded Western Kentucky badly. The rebound margin is now pretty close. At one time, the Hilltoppers were badly out-rebounding the Aggies, and now it's turned around in the last 7 or 8 minutes.
Babacar Faye, 58% free throw shooter. This is a 12-2 scoring run right now. Transfer for the College of Charleston. Double figures in only 3 games this year. All 3 came in the first 3 weeks of the year. The offense usually comes from Don McHenry, who averages 15 a game, second best in CUSA, but he hasn't scored yet. He's only attempted 2 shots. Fancy finish down low for Odukali.
Well, that's where Femi's as effective as the Aggies have, is that, a judicious use of the dribble, got into the paint, and he's got great body control inside there.
Slap that one away from Marshall. Goes out of bounds. It will stay with WKU. Those were the first points for the Aggies' top scorer this year. So McHenry scoreless, and Odukali is averaging almost 12 a game to pace the Aggies this year, was scoreless before that finger roll. Does WKU have to find a way to get McHenry involved here at some point in the first half, Russ?
Well, I'm impressed how McHenry's not forcing things. I mean, his team is winning on the road, and he hasn't taken a bad shot yet. I think he's handling it like a pro, like a solid point guard.
That was the first made field goal in almost 5 minutes for WKU.
And we talked about this before the game. McHenry, of course, is from the same junior college as Ivan Orokoechea, one of the best big men the Aggies have had in recent memory.
Pull up for Rawls, no good. Your pronunciation still good, Russ?
Well, no,
I rusty after a couple of years.
I used to struggle with that one. I would call him the big Spaniard.
Right. A lot of people did. Squirts out to Petway. Lead pass for Christian Cook. No foul is called. He thought Marshall got him. Lander passes up a 3 in transition. You don't see that much from WKU. Usually it's a quick release. Contested three for Allen, way off. Good box out by Kanyanga.
Yeah, see, Kanyanga's pretty effective in there. And Christian Cook, I think, got surprised by Christian Lander's athleticism.
Petway back rim, no good. Tipped out to Allen on the rebound. We remind you, McHenry still scoreless. 0 for 2 from the field, 2 rebounds, no helpers. He has the ball right here, defended by Cook. Fay hands it off to Lander, who's had a good first half offensively. Back out to Marshall. Splashes in the three.
That smart pass by Christian Landers there.
Aggies haven't scored in over 2 minutes. Odukali hands it off to Cook. Slow start for Cook. Step back deep two. That's a tough shot. No rebounders down there. 3 red jerseys for WKU.
It just seems to be a game of spurts, doesn't it, Adam?
Yep.
It's feast or famine here for the Aggies. Uh-oh.
McHenry still scoreless. Rebound to Cook.
Smart play by Femi down there. He couldn't get the ball, but he tipped it away from his man.
Aggies 1 for their last 7 from the field. Odukali a step back three. That's not really his game, but he'll connect.
Boy, his feet were sure set. He made it look easy.
Only his 12th attempted three this year. He's 5 for 12. He just doesn't shoot many. Allen almost lost it, got it back. Shot clock winding for WKU. Good finish for Marshall on the surge. Under 4 left here in the first half. The Aggies shooting sub 30%. Only 29% for the field. Yet they're right in it. Down low, Kanyanga, and he's fouled going up.
A really nice pass by Petway. I didn't think he was open. A beautiful pass by Tinaj Petway.
So Kanyanga will shoot his 8th and his 9th free throws of the season when we come back. Once again, WKU led by as many as 12 in the first 8 minutes. 2-possession game now, late in half one from the Pan Am. Adam Young, Russ Bradburn, Tatiana Favela back with you from the Pan American Center. Aggies have won 2 of their previous 3 games. Hilltoppers have won 9 of 10. And right now, WKU leads by a handful. Newsenda Credit Union is a proud supporter of the Aggies. You can visit them today at their Pan Am branch for all of your financial needs. Find them online at newsenda.org. Rush, you're looking at the stats. What jumps out at you here?
Well, the Aggies don't have an assist other than Femi Odukali's 2, and remember we talked about getting the ball moving before the game started. And they've just been stymied and stifled by a pretty stubborn Western Kentucky team. But I think that it won't surprise you to know that I think Jason Hooten is correct. That Western Kentucky, what makes them very good, could also, like any team, could also be their undoing. And they're not going to change just because they're winning or losing. They're going to play their game.
Jonathan Kanyanga, grad transfer from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, gets a friendly bounce. Both head coaches in their first year at their respective programs. You just saw Jason Hooten, who's in after 13 successful years at Sam Houston. Steve Lutz, 2 years at Texas A&M Corpus Christi most recently. Jason said, I've known Steve for about 30 years, going back to when Jason was coming up in the business. Steve Lutz was coming up at Incarnate Word, and
yeah, I think
they took some different paths a little bit.
But I think Steve played at Texas Lutheran. Steve Lutz played at Texas Lutheran, and Jason played at Tarleton State. I imagine they played each other in college. That was before Tarleton was Division I.
Lander with 9 to lead WKU. Here's Lander on the catch. Good defense by Cook. Lander to the rim, a little off balance. He's in double figures with 11. A highly touted recruit out of Evansville, Indiana. Went to Indiana at first. He was a top 30 national recruit. Lob for Odukali, and it was a little off the mark from Jordan Rawls. It was there, though. A good pass, and O'Ducali's able to slam it in. Lander whips it opposite wing. Three is good for Tyrone Marshall, who's connected twice in the half.
Well, Christian Lander is the best guard on the floor tonight. There's a beautiful pass by him. He must, McHenry must have said, look, you take over for me. But I'm joking. They've got three very good perimeter players in Brandon Newman, Lander, and McHenry.
Mismatch here as Howard defends O'Ducali. O'Ducali can't bank it in, and the rebound is snatched by Lander. Lander scoring and distributing. Marshall, clear path to the rim. And Jason Hooten wants a timeout again. And Russ, you are absolutely correct. This is a game of runs right now. Yeah,
and Jason Hooten just couldn't stand to see another layup by Tyrone Marshall, who just, that's from 40 feet away. He just drove around the entire Aggie team there.
So this is a 7-0 run for WKU. They made 4 straight from the field. The Aggies had an 8-0 spurt earlier. Jason Hooten said at his radio show on Tuesday, he told us, WKU is a team where you feel like you're always in it because they will play fast, they will shoot it quickly, and you can go on runs against them. That happened a couple weeks ago when WKU played Liberty. They were ahead by double figures with a couple minutes left in the game, and Liberty had a shot to win it in the final second. So you feel like you're in it all the time because of the way they play, but they can also score in bunches like this.
Yeah, and we just saw the last play where, that was from quite a ways away for Tyrone Marshall. Was very happy with himself on the way back. It was a nice move. He should be happy, I suppose.
75 possessions per 40 minutes for the Hilltoppers this year on offense. That is second in the country when you look at adjusted tempo. And a foul is called on Howard, who is pulling on Iziagu. It's only the 4th on WKU here in the half. Instant offense coming back in for the Aggies. Number 9, Tanaj Petway entering for Cook.
Well, instant offense leaving in Christian Cook as well. They're both pretty good offensive players, but Cook has not been able to get on track tonight.
A foul on Howard, his second, so he will take a seat. Aggies are running plays for Petway. Penetration for Petway. We're going to jump ball. That's a good call right there. Possession will stay with New Mexico State. That's really good defense by the Hilltoppers.
And, we always talk about the Aggie tradition, but Western Kentucky was a powerhouse for many years. They've got a long, long tradition.
Ziagu way off, corralled by Newman. Lander met by Rawls in the forecourt. Both of these programs since 2004, they have 13 seasons of 20 wins or more. Both programs do, just identical. As Ziagu clears on the miss by Colombe. Hilltoppers a year ago, though, 17-16 in the final year for Rick Stansberry. Under 500 in CUSA play. Marshall on the spin, he travels.
Well, Aggie's got a break there. Just a little bit careless between, a little miscommunication, a little careless between Jordan Rawls and Tanaj Petway.
Aggies trying to get Suggs in rhythm offensively as well. He hasn't scored. He averages 8 a game. 10 a game, though, post-injury. And it's been a struggle here tonight for Jordan Rawls, trying to take care of the ball as well, Russ.
Yeah. I mean, it was the exact same. It was a mirror of the other, just on the other side of the floor there.
Post-entry out of the inbound pass to Iziagu, who's telling his teammates to clear away. Left-handed hook is short. Iziagu now 1 for 4 from the field. Scoreless throughout 3 minutes for New Mexico State. Final minute in the first half. Hilltoppers have led by as many as 12. Marshall off balance. Suggs will push. No numbers. Attacks anyway. The finger roll drops in for Suggs.
Well, smart play by Brendan Suggs there. He waited a minute till things cleared out. I thought he certainly can't go all the way now, but as he waited for a second, things opened up. And here come the Aggies.
Foul away from the ball called on WKU. That is the 5th on the Hilltoppers. It goes on Babacar Faye, his first.
Just a nice hesitation move by Brandon Suggs. I didn't see the last foul, but
Femi Odekali will get ready to inbound, or somebody else will. Let's see here. Yeah, it will be Femi. Aggies trying to cut this to a 2-possession game late in the first half. Right to Iziagu, swirls away. Once again, that's the shot they want, Russ. That's
his jump hook is his best shot. Yeah.
And now Steve Lutz is going to use the timeout and try to get the final shot of the half and draw something up.
Yeah, he wants to go up 10 at halftime here if he can get an open look.
Well, this is going to be one of those halftime messages for that man Jason Hooten, where probably tell your team, hey, we can't play much worse. And we had some really poor stretches in that first half, and no matter what happens right here, you're still in the game, no doubt about it.
Yeah, they're shooting 28% from the floor here, and they're still pretty close. Big thing for the Aggies now, Adam, will be if the Hilltoppers miss, they've got to get the ball back. They cannot give up an offensive rebound, and they've been able to hold Western Kentucky to just 2 offensive rebounds so far. But an offensive rebound would crush the Aggies here in the last 20 seconds.
Russ, good news out of Bowling Green, Kentucky tonight. Jody Adams and the Aggie women defeat Western Kentucky 50-44 in a low-scoring game, so they pick up their first CUSA win. First conference loss for WKU. That's a nice road win.
It's a great win for the women. And Western Kentucky was in the Sun Belt when the Aggies were in the Sun Belt. I was in graduate school at the time. But I remember they had some fierce battles with Eric Channing playing. I think Eric Channing had 39 points one night when the Aggies lost in overtime.
Lander with the ball. 10 seconds left. Shot clock off. Harris defends. Ball screen from Faye. Lander wheeling, circling. Gets his shot away. It's good for Christian Lander, and it counts to finish off the half.
Boy, it's tough for Jaden Harris. I thought did all he could there.
An excellent first half for the transfer from Indiana. In his second year with the Hilltoppers, Christian Lander scores a game-high 13 with 2 rebounds, 2 helpers, and he knocks in a jumper in the final seconds. Hilltoppers by 10. The new Senda Credit Union halftime show comes up next. You're watching Conference USA men's basketball on ESPN Plus on a Thursday night from Lou Henson Court in the Pan American Center. It is Western Kentucky leading by 10, looking for their 10th win in their previous 11 games. Halftime stats presented by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of New Mexico. Russ, those shooting numbers not good for New Mexico State.
No, and sadly, Jordan Rawls and Christian Cook, who've led the Aggies in minutes played, haven't scored a point yet. Maybe that can get turned around. But the Aggies came back and battled on the boards hard in the second part of the first half. And if you look at the Aggies' assists, we talk about getting the ball moving, and the Aggies have really struggled with only 2 assists, both for Femi Odekale. Things are going to have to change radically here in the second half if the Aggies are going to win.
We mentioned numerous times in that half that Don McHenry, the top scorer this year for WKU, was scoreless. He finished the half with 0 points, 0 for 3 from the field. So if you're that man, Steve Lutz, the first-year head coach of the Hilltoppers, you're probably feeling pretty good. You're up 10 at the half on the road. Your best scorer hasn't scored yet.
That's right, and I admire how Don McHenry, I'd heard so much about him and was expecting big things. He hasn't played well, but he hasn't made a bunch of mistakes. He's just sort of playing within himself, and they're doing fine without him.
You admired his background, too, because he started his career at non-D1 Hawaii Hilo, then went JUCO, and now he's at Division I, and he's one of the best scorers in the conference.
Yeah, and to think a few years ago he was at Hawaii Hilo and Christian Lander was at Indiana, But now they're pretty much equal. I mean, I imagine that McHenry improved dramatically.
McHenry's been in double figures in all but 2 games this year, 17 a game in Conference USA play, and he scored 30 in non-conference play against Wright State. We'll see if the Aggies can keep him in check for 20 more minutes, but you have to think at some point McHenry will find a way to score in double figures.
Well, that's right, but I think that Christian Cook and Jordan Rawls could very well get untracked as well. So I think it'll be a terrific game here in the second half, but the Aggies have their work cut out for them.
How important is this first 4 or 5 minute stretch for New Mexico State?
Well, my college coach, and when I say my college coach, Adam, I mean I sat on the bench and listened, but he always said that the first 5 minutes of the second half were the most important, and I think particularly for this game with the Aggies, I think that's going to be true. The Aggies cannot get off to a sluggish start here in the second half.
Do they need to find a way to get Cook, Suggs, Carpenter involved? Because between those 3, they've only scored 4 total points.
Well, that's right. And Christian Cook, he's missed shots he normally makes. He's as smooth as silk shooter, and he usually makes shots that he hasn't been able to connect on tonight.
Hilltoppers 5-4 away from Bowling Green this year. They are undefeated, though, at home at Diddle Arena. Looking for their 6th road win. New Mexico State trying to come from behind and go to 8-1 at home. Lone home loss by only a point against UNM during non-conference play. Newman slings it for Lander for WKU. Newman, hard move to the rim, hit the bottom side of the cylinder and gets bailed out. Never really heard a whistle. I think it was a silent whistle, but Newman will get 2 free throws.
And he took a shot to the knee. I think Brandon Newman sort of struggling here. Aggies bailed him out. I don't know if he could have made that even if he hadn't been fouled.
Definitely a lot of contact there as Suggs picks up his first personal. Newman, preseason all-conference, and CUSA a 77% free throw shooter. See right there, he only has 1 point before this free throw. Now he has 2, so between Newman and McHenry, just 2 combined, and those 2 guys are the top 2 scorers. Newman averages 11 a game.
Well, yeah, so maybe I was correct in those keys. The keys of the game, the Aggies had to control McHenry and Newman, and they've done a good job of that. It's just it's a much deeper team than the Aggies at this point in the season.
This match is the biggest lead for the Hilltoppers tonight. Big juncture here in the first 4 or 5 minutes of the half for New Mexico State. Trying to turn things around offensively. Cook to Suggs from the sideline, way short. Follows the miss. Baseline jumper, good for Brandon Suggs.
Heads-up play by Brandon Suggs.
He's really turned it on post-injury. 10 a game since coming back from injury. His 8th game back from that foot injury. Newman, quick release, swirls away to Jordan Rawls. Rawls backdoor for Suggs. He thought about the reverse and then he got too far underneath Russ.
Yeah.
And Lander throws it away off the fingertips of Marshall.
Well, maybe that's a good sign for the Aggies because that's the first mistake Lander's made that I remember.
Russ, there's been at least 6 or 7 layups that the Aggies normally make. And if you just make 3 or 4 of those, it's a 1 or 2 possession game. Rawls to the rim. He's blocked from behind. That hit his body and goes out of bounds, so WKU will get it.
And that's where you feel for Jason Hooten. He can't go out and make layups for the Aggies. Heads-up play by Brendan Newman.
McHenry still searching for his first points of the night. Lander has picked up the slack zone. Pull up, friendly bounce. Lander up to 15, a game high.
He's tough. It's almost as if McHenry had said to him, look, I don't feel good.
Pick it up, right?
Yeah, you be in charge tonight.
Yeah, normally you facilitate. I need you to score here tonight. Lander well above his season average of 9.5 a game. Suggs almost travels. Fires it out for Cook, who rarely passes up a look like that. Carpenter thought about passing, threw it up, airballed it. Here comes Marshall. Transition three for Newman. Bingo. Western Kentucky takes their biggest lead of the game. They lead by 15. And Jason Hooten will use an early timeout. Just 2:21 into half number 2. Danger zone for the Aggies here at home. 44-29 Western Kentucky. Hilltoppers outscoring the Aggies 7-2 here in half number 2, so that 10-point advantage of the break has escalated up to 15 for Western Kentucky on the road. Westar is a proud supporter of the Aggies. You can find them online at weststarbank.com. Well, Russ, that was a perfect time for a timeout for Jason Hooten, trying to get the group to regroup here early on in the second half. This is certainly a danger zone, isn't it?
Yes, and I felt like the Aggies didn't come out fighting. You know, it's one thing to come out missing shots, but they seem to be a little bit lethargic for a Jason Hooten coach team.
Femi Odukali in off the bench. He has the ball right here, defended by Newman. Odukali on the curl, spins, stays patient, back on the arc for Suggs. And he's fouled on the dribble drive by Lander, his first personal. We've talked a lot about Lander tonight. You look at his statistics and you feel like he could be producing more, and we've seen him produce more here tonight.
Well, yeah, and he's on a very good team. He's playing with very good players.
Cook a long two off balance. Here come the Hilltoppers as they get out and run. Transition three for Newman, splashes it in, and that's what the Hilltoppers want to do. They run and they gun.
And that normally Christian Cook would make that, but I'll say that, you know, Femi, that pass was right at his ankles, and Femi normally gets it right to your chest.
Pull up for Odukali, trying to tip it in, no good. We get a jump ball. Possession stays with the Aggies. The Hilltoppers did this a lot in the first half, but the threes weren't really falling. Now they're falling in half 2, and Newman's getting loose.
Yes.
8-0 run for WKU. Kick out to Petway. He just checked back in. He's short. Aggies are 3 for 15 from long range. Lander will release. Swishes it in. Hilltoppers outscoring the Aggies 13-2 so far in half 2. Odukali swings it for Suggs. Throws it away, and Carpenter holds Marshall.
Well, smart foul by Robert Carpenter there. Just a little bit careless pass from Brendan Suggs. This is, you know, the Western Kentucky pressure has made this happen quite a few times tonight.
Now we're starting to see why Western Kentucky has won 9 of their previous 10. This is why they're 13-4, despite McHenry not scoring yet. So many weapons offensively. Post entry for Howard, and he seals around Isiagu, and he scores easily.
That really great pass by Christian Lander there, who's doing everything. He might as well sing the national anthem, Christian Lander, if he's going to do everything else.
Russ, I'm with you. He's the best player on the floor tonight, and there is no question. Harris will fire a 3, and he buries it. Jaden Harris with his first made 3 tonight. A near steal. Lander attacks anyway. Hilltoppers won't slow down. This is how they play, and they throw it away. The 3 for Harris snaps a 13-0 Hilltoppers run. It's been all WKU so far in half 2. Aggies with a large hill to climb. 15:39 left in the second stanza. Hilltoppers up 20. Adam Young, Russ Bradburn, Tatiana Favela, and our fantastic crew back with you from the Pan American Center. Steve Lutz, Christian Lander, and the Hilltoppers up 20. If you're Jason Hooten right now, Russ, are you trying to set goals for the media timeouts here? Say, let's get it down to 14 or 12 by the under 12 and so on and so forth?
Absolutely. You don't want the Aggies thinking, well, I'll get it back on this next play. They're not going to shoot a 15-pointer or a 20-pointer. They've got to do it bit by bit.
Odukali completely lost the handle, and Jason Hooten wondering why the play wasn't run. The Aggies commit their 7th turnover. That is nowhere near what Jason Hooten drew up during the timeout. Now Lander going to work for WKU. Jason Hooten is still stunned about the previous possession as Kanyanga bats away the post entry. Suggs pushes, attacks, and is fouled going up. And now Jason Hooten is going to try to figure out that previous possession where the Aggies did not run anything close to what he was drawing up.
No, as we see Brendan Suggs go to the hoop here, it's hard to figure what happened on the last one. The ball suddenly is flying off the backboard on the previous play.
It's been a tough night offensively for New Mexico State. 27% from the field, 4 for 16 from 3. And they've only attempted 6 free throws, 4 for 6. 1 out of 2 for Suggs. Harris picks up Lander. We remind you, Don McHenry still hasn't scored for WKU. Second best scorer in CUSA. Dante Allen short on the 3. Battle for the rebound. Over the back is called on the Hilltoppers. It's on Allen.
Well, Femi Odukali did a good job there in traffic going after that one.
A lot of time left. We saw the Aggies go on an 8-0 run in the first half in about 50 seconds. They would love something similar here. Odukali, short corner, working on Allen as he squares. Whips it back for Petway on the arc. Bingo!
Well, that's a pretty good combination with Femi Odukali and Tanaj Petway.
And now all of a sudden this is a 7-0 Aggie run. Petway with 13, and a foul is called.
Yeah, I'm not a doctor, Adam, as you know, but I got to think that McHenry's fighting a bug here as we see Tanaj Petway, beautiful pass.
Yeah. Could also just be one of those nights too, Russ, where he sees Lander just doing so much, he's kind of staying out of the way.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Know your role a little bit on a night like tonight.
And that may be more likely. Because he hasn't looked, he's hardly made a mistake, Don McHenry.
That shot was partially blocked by Kanyanga, and then a foul is called on the second chance effort. You could argue that is the first shot that he has forced tonight.
Yeah, he must have heard us thinking, because I'm not saying he's not doing. He's done a terrific job defensively. If you look what the Aggies have done, you know, with Christian Cook hasn't scored and Jordan Rawls hasn't scored against his old team. Poor Jordan Rawls. This is his old team. I'm sure he wanted to have a great game tonight.
Carpenter coming in for Suggs for New Mexico State. Newman back in, so is Kalambe for WKU. Howard at the free throw line. Ypsilanti, Michigan native, a transfer from Georgia Tech. Played 3 years for the Yellow Jackets. He's a grad transfer. Started his career at Georgia. So Georgia Tech, and now the Hilltoppers for 1 year. Nice guy to bring off the bench if you're Steve Lutz.
Yes.
Off the bench now for the 9th consecutive game. Started the first 8 this year. Odukali down the lane, and he stuffs it.
Just tremendous athleticism with a nice crossover dribble for Femi.
Newman gets Harris in the air. Extra pass in the corner for McHenry. Stolen by Harris. Trying to pick it up, he does. Petway for the wing. Way short. But on a night like tonight, that's a good shot for Tanaj Petway. Russ, this one is far from over because of this pace.
No, that's right, and I think you called it. I think you sussed it out well before I did.
There's a lot of possessions left on both ends. McHenry contested jumper. And over the back is called to the Hilltoppers on another clean box out by Odukali.
Well, and just when I was talking about Don McHenry, who had how he had hardly made a mistake, he takes a questionable shot at the end. Pretty good body control by Femi Odukale there.
So much athleticism for the transfer from Pitt and Seton Hall out of Brooklyn, New York. Aggies trying to cut even closer into this deficit. Odukali stutters. And he's hit by Dante Allen. What do we say, Russ? Maybe the goal was get it to 14 by the under 12?
Well, that's always sort of the, if you can be within the same amount of points as minutes left, you've got a fighting chance. But the Aggies will have to make a run here.
There you see the bench numbers right above the scorebook. 29 bench points for the Aggies, 13 from Petway. Odukali has 7 off the bench. Every possession critical the rest of the way. Trying to run a good set here. Drawn up by Jason Hooten. Flare screen is set for Petway. It wasn't there though. 6 to shoot for Harris. Petway will have to create. Petway weaves, fades, got rim. Tip no good. Carpenter battling for it, and it's grabbed by Christian Lander. Lob up high, slapped off the backboard by Carpenter, intended for Howard.
Well, great hustle that time by Carpenter to get back in time.
Odukali goes away for the ball screen. Goes up, and he's blocked by Allen. So the Aggies trying to take some chunks out of this WKU lead, which was once 23. It's down to 15. Aggies will have the ball when we come back.
Softball are right around the corner, and Aggie softball led by veteran head coach Kathy Rodoff will begin their season at home on February 9th, and they'll be playing home each of their first 2 weekends, hosting a handful of programs including Nebraska. Meanwhile, Aggie baseball will open their season on February 16th at home against South Dakota State. First-year head coach Jake Angier and his program will be at home 3 of the first 4 weekends. And also Aggie baseball will host their first pitch dinner to help kick off the season on January 27th at the Farm and Ranch Museum. For more tickets and info, you can head to the Aggie baseball social media channels. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Tatiana. Looking forward to watching that man play this year. Keith Jones, who's coming off a great 2023. Jake Angier in his first year as the skipper of Aggie baseball. You just saw McHenry. He's on the bench, still hasn't scored. Top scorer for the Hilltoppers for the year. Aggies trying to cut into it. Petway's pass is deflected and stolen. Marshall dumps it right around Odukali, who is trying to block it from behind. And fortunately is okay after going up a couple of rows of seats. You know, Russ, I think the pass was there if Petway executes it.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
I think Carpenter would have been open on an alley-oop. Swing pass to Jaden Harris, who's had a good night from deep.
Well, Jaden Harris and Petway have done their best to take up the slack for Christian Cook and Jordan Rawls.
Remember, Harris was averaging 11 a game in the first 6 games this year. He's down to 6 a game now. His production has really dipped. but he has 8 off the bench, a couple of threes. Wide open look for Newman. Back rim no good. Howard skies forward at 6'10". Newman has it poked. No numbers for Carpenter. Dumps it off to Odukali. Aggies have been here where it's been 14. They're trying to cut it to 12 or 11. Carpenter for 3. Gets it down to 11.
Well, maybe the Aggies can make their move here, Adam.
We repeat, it was an 8-0 run in less than a minute at one point in half one. Looking for something similar again. Howard going to work. Left it short. Ripped in by Odukali. Bounces for Carpenter running the floor, and he lost the handle. Last touch, though, by Lander.
You know, I could see Steve Lutz's team. I'm highly impressed with Steve Lutz, the new Western Kentucky coach. And I could see this team, if they get hot in the tournament, you know, at the conference tournament at the end of the year, they could win 3 games in 3 days pretty easily.
Carpenter again, blocked away by Marshall. Saves it to Odukali. Carpenter will heave. Bingo!
But when he feels it, boy, he look out. He tried his best to get the Aggies back in was it the Lobo game where he made a couple threes?
It was. Was that touched by an Aggie? No. That's Aggie ball. Colin Bay lost it, or at least one official pointed in New Mexico State's direction.
What?
One official said New Mexico State, the other official says deflected.
And it's New Mexico State. What?
Petway's trying to inbound. And here come the Boo Birds. One official had Aggie ball, the other had deflection. I thought it was deflected, to be perfectly honest. This is an 18-3 Aggie run. Howard travel.
Well, Steve Lutz wants a timeout now.
New Mexico State has made their run over the previous 6 minutes, outscoring the Hilltoppers 18-3. And they have turned a 23-point deficit and cut it down to 8.
Well, I don't know how that could be anything except Aggie ball there.
I think initially Odukali stripped it, and then it did seem like on the replay that Colin Bay on the follow-through did hit it. Either way, it's going to be Aggie ball with 9:43 left. Still a long way to go. 55-47. Do you work through Carpenter on this offensive possession after he's drained 2 in a row, Russ?
No, I think Carpenter's more of the afterthought guy. I do think when Femi's making good decisions and getting into the defense, and Jaden Harrison and Petway have been so active in getting open, I'd say the Aggies are better off going through Femi at this point. And I do think as good as Robert Carpenter's been in the last few minutes, he's sort of a second option, but he's a very good second option.
Down the road in El Paso, the Miners leading Middle Tennessee by 7. They are 7 minutes into half 2 in that one at the Don Haskins Center. Middle Tennessee winless in conference play. Odukali shuffles it back out for Jaden Harris. It's been a quiet night for Iziagu. There's Carpenter again, 3 in a row.
Well, there he was, the second option. But yeah, nice. It's funny, he doesn't get much arch on that shot, but boy, when he's on, he's really on.
Pan Am is buzzing. And Iziagu is called for holding Howard in the mid-post. Iziagu's second. He hasn't played a ton tonight.
There he is, Robert Carpenter.
It was a decent closeout by Enoch Collimbay, but he lost Carpenter initially. Backdoor for Howard, and he stuffs it right around Iziagu. Snaps a 2.5-minute scoreless drought for the Hilltoppers and snaps a 12-0 Aggie run. Harris, a long deuce. Short, follows. and he gets fouled on the rebound.
Pretty great hustle by Jaden Harris, the South Plains player. One of the, as we always talk about, one of the top junior college programs in the country. You know, it was essentially Steve Green, that Jaden Harris's junior college coach, his first year, that was responsible for Randy Brown being such a great Aggie.
16 minutes for Harris tonight in the absence of Jalen Jackson-Posey, who's out with a foot injury. Go through Carpenter. That's contested. Spins off. Rebounded by Newman.
Femi nearly had that.
McHenry has it poked by Harris. Aggie ball. I think that was last touch by Jaden Harris, Russ.
I'm not sure, but Don McHenry, who played within himself in the first half, seems to be trying to do too much now this half.
Odukali, Harris, Carpenter, Petway, and Isiagu for the Aggies on offense. They trailed by 23 early on in the half. Carpenter, so long, so athletic, and he gets called for traveling on the step through. McHenry, Lander, Newman, Marshall, Howard for WKU on offense. Newman's had a good half, defended by Odukali. Howard on the arc. Flips it for Marshall. And a foul gets called on Carpenter for the hold. His third. He's been in foul trouble a bunch all year. You know, the Aggies tonight, Russ, have done a better job, though, of limiting fouls. And it might be because WKU plays so fast, but Hilltopper's not in the bonus yet. 6 fouls on NM State, 6 fouls on WKU. Hilltoppers don't give you a chance to foul. They shoot so quick.
Well, that's right. He'd be fun to play for, I'll say.
Marshall is stepped through, and the floater drops in for Tyrone Marshall Jr., who's up to 16. It's been a game of runs. Just one tie, just one lead change. Largest Aggie lead 2, biggest lead WKU 23. Petway, good bounce. Isiagu on the jam.
Really good look by Tanash Petway. I was wondering what he was waiting for, and he played it perfectly.
Just the second field goal for Casey Isiagu. Newman fouled going up. If it's on Isiagu, that's his third. Should be shots as well for Brandon Newman. 7:22 left. Media timeout from the Pan American Center. The Aggies have made this a ball game. Stick with us. Final 7:22 when you come back.
Back with you here at the Pan American Center. After playing just one game for the last 2 weeks of Star Conference play, New Mexico State will be busy the next couple of weeks, playing 2 games a week for 3 straight weeks. Now, the Aggies will host Middle Tennessee coming up on Saturday, and to conclude the week, and before heading on the road to next week to play Jason Hooten's former program, Sam Houston, as well as Louisiana Tech. Then the Aggies will return home to start February with a pair of home games against Liberty and Jacksonville State. The game against Jacksonville State on February 3rd will be the annual Pack the Pan Am game, which should be the best atmosphere of any game all season. Adam, Russ?
Thanks, Tatiana. So Middle Tennessee in town this weekend. They trail UTEP by 7 still down the road in El Paso. We mentioned earlier that Middle Tennessee winless in conference play. So is UTEP. So somebody will get that first league win, that coveted first league win tonight in El Paso. Russ, it was 55-38 Hilltoppers before the Aggies made 4 straight three-pointers. Harris won and then 3 in a row for Carpenter. So even if Newman makes this, which he will, it is still well within reach, a 3-possession game for New Mexico State.
That's right. I just don't know if the Aggies can remain smoldering hot from 3 for the rest of the game. They're going to have to figure out a way to get good shots even when their threes aren't falling.
Petway for three. They're still falling, Russ.
Well, they're still falling. Never mind. Forget what I was saying.
4 threes for Tanaj Petway. 2-possession game with under 7 left. Deflection by Rawls, picked up in the backcourt by Newman. Late in the shot clock for WKU. You won't hear that very often. 5 to shoot for Lander. Falls on the ground, throws it to midcourt. Shot clock violation, or at least it should be. A late whistle, and the Aggies will have possession.
Well, pretty great defense by Robert Carpenter, and Jordan Rawls was the one who got that started. Jordan has been has had a nightmare of a game up to this point, but his defense was terrific on that last play.
Jaden Harris, Robert Carpenter, Jordan Rawls, Tanaj Petway, Casey Iziagu. 6 1/4 left. Rawls a kick out. Harris from the corner. 1-possession game. Oh, what a comeback.
One pretty great pass by Jordan Rawls there. So maybe Jordan Rawls can get this turned around here in the last few minutes and pull the Aggies out of the fire here.
Newman mid-range, splashes it in. He will hit that all day. Rawls exchanges for Harris. Petway on the kick out. Left it short. Rebounded by McHenry. And McHenry's fouled in the forecourt.
I thought that was a smart foul by Jaden Harris. The Aggies weren't quite back on defense there. It was a long three.
Now, Russ, you always say that if somebody who is usually a scorer is struggling offensively and is trying to get back on track, the best place to be is the free throw line.
Well,
and that's going to be the case here for McHenry.
Yeah, that's. I'm sorry you pointed that out, because that could get Don McHenry going here.
McHenry, as you would imagine, an excellent free throw shooter, 86%, third in CUSA.
And he's second leading scorer in the conference.
Searching for his first point with 5:42 remaining in the second half. This is 1-1. Hasn't shot it much tonight. 5 shot attempts from the field, 0 for 5, of course. And that shows you the kind of night he's had. He does not miss free throws very often. The door is open for New Mexico State late in this one. This game was trending towards a blowout early on in the half. Odukali, the offensive rebound. Goes up, banks it in. Babakar Faye running the floor and slams it in.
Boy, big no-no for the Aggies there, where they're not able to get back on defense.
Faye's had a good night. He has 8, averages 7. Rawls back out for Cook. Cook still hasn't scored. He throws it away to Marshall. Marshall blocked away. McHenry, the rebound. Tip no good. Odukali reaches for it. Push ahead for Cook. Harris for 3. Bingo!
Well, the Aggies are on fire from 3. It's the only thing keeping them in the game here.
One possession game. Faye hands it off for Lander, who's been quiet in the half. Faye slams it again. Jaden Harris is up to 14 on this end of the floor.
Well, in a game of spurts, the Aggies will have to have a spurt here at the end.
Cook bounces for Harris. Cook backdoor. Dump ball for Odukali, who's fouled going up.
Nice pass by nice pass by Jaden Harris to Christian Cook, and then Cook with a nice pass in return to Femi.
Western Kentucky led 52-29, 4 minutes into the half. The lead is down to a handful. 2 free throws for Femi Odukali when you come back. A pretty amazing comeback so far for Jaden Harris and New Mexico State. 68-63, 3:37 left in the second half. And Russ, I said earlier this one was trending towards a blowout at one point. You could argue it was a blowout at one point. I mean, the Aggies trailed by 23, just 4 minutes into the half, and they just chipped away, and they have found a way behind a number of made threes here in the half. In fact, they have made 9 threes out of 14 attempts in this half alone, and they have a chance to win this game down the stretch.
Yes, and it's been a miracle of three-point rain for the Aggies up to this point. I just don't. I think they're going to have to, if they could find another way to score a basket besides a three, it could really go a long way to pushing them over. And Femi Odukali, who's not the Aggies' best free throw shooter, is going to need to make both of these.
Field goal percentage in this half for New Mexico State is only 45%, but it's 64% from three. They have still struggled around the rim, but from behind the arc, they've almost been automatic. Femi's free throw struggles continue, 55% for the season. Off the bench for the 6th consecutive game. And he misses both. 2 free throws the Aggies really needed. 3.5 left. Lander only has 5.5. He had 13 at the break. Here's Newman, who's had a good half. McHenry's still in despite his offensive struggles. Hasn't made a field goal yet. Going to work on Harris. Swings it back out. Newman with 1 to shoot. Left it short. Babacar Faye keeps it alive. And then Lander's fouled by Tanaj Petway.
Well, Aggies, they needed to get that missed shot back and weren't able to get the defensive rebound.
Still 1 and 1. That was foul number 9 on New Mexico State. Lander 71% for the stripe this year. Doubling up his season average. Had a great first half with McHenry struggling. A 3 would cut it to 3. The Aggies have made 9 of them in the half. Rolls to Harris, passes up the 3, chooses a pull-up mid-range jumper. 16 for Jaden Harris.
Well, that's a good sign if the Aggies can make, besides being red hot from 3, if they can make the pull-up jumpers.
Kick out McHenry, swirls off the 3, still without a made field goal.
Big rebound by Femi.
Rolls, cross court, caught Petway to the rim, left-handed finish, +1, Tanaj Petway.
I thought, where is he going? But just beautiful body control, and he switched it to his left hand at the last second. I thought there's no way he's going to get that over the big guy from Western Kentucky. Watch him change hands here. Brilliant shot, wasn't it?
I'm with you, Russ. I was wondering where he was going as well.
There was nowhere to go there, but just that he had perfect body control and perfect timing. Just a smart play by Tanaj Petway.
He's only attempted 11 free throws all season.
But don't put the whammy. Don't say anything more. Thank you. There it is.
1-point game. Last Aggie lead, by the way, 2-0. They're down 1. Tough catch for Marshall. Checked by Harris. The Pan American Center coming alive with under 2 left. Post touch for Howard. 3 to shoot for Lander. Has to heave a 3. Push in the back. The Aggies should get free throws.
Jaden Harris, great job there by Jaden Harris going after the ball.
And the shooter will be Jaden Harris. 1-1 coming up. That was foul number 9, RWKU. The one thing Harris hasn't done tonight, he hasn't attempted a free throw.
He's nearly 70%, right? Well, you told me during a timeout, we weren't on the air, but you said, I think the Aggies are going to win this. And at that time, the Aggies were down 5 and without the ball.
This is tie number 2. The Aggies trying to take just their second lead of the game. In the first since it was 2-zip. 1:36 left. The Aggies have stormed back from 23 down. They lead. Timeout, Steve Lutz. Listen to the Pan American Center.
Wow. Just complete pandemonium here. You think that the Aggies were in first place?
It was 52-29 in the first 4 minutes here in the second half. Now it is 70-69. The Aggies are plus 11 here in the half. And Russ, that huddle has loads of confidence.
Well, that's right. And I think, it was the three-pointers that got the Aggies back into it. Just an unbelievable run of three-pointers where they made 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 11. But it's been the, getting to the basket and the medium range game that's really put them over the hump.
If you're Steve Lutz in that huddle, what are you looking for here?
Well, I think they're going to go inside if they can. They'll drive it. They won't. I don't think they'll settle for a three-pointer. I think they'll try and drive it, get it to the basket. And I look for Christian Lander to do the to have the ball and have the weight on his shoulders here.
This is Lander, checked by Harris. Hilltoppers will use some clock. Ball screen, Howard. Iziagu has Lander go around him, and he swatted him. Rawls saves it for Oducali, but Rawls was out of bounds.
I was a little surprised, the Aggies played that great. I was a little surprised Jaden Harris went over the screen. But watch Big Casey.
Now the key, Russ, here is the shot clock does not reset. It's still at 3. There is no change in possession. So the Hilltoppers have 3 on the timer. The officials telling Iziagu and Howard to
Petway should be helping here.
Stop with the hand check.
Yeah, but Petway should be helping him here.
We get a foul called before the inbound pass.
Well, he gave him several warnings.
Iziagu was warned about holding on Howard. And I think the official just told Iziagu that. We warned you and you held him.
Yes.
Howard will shoot to 64%.
We saw him do it twice. I think Howard will be nervous. He's played for Georgia Tech.
He's seen this before.
Oh, I was hoping he'd be nervous.
It's 2 free throws the rest of the way on both sides. One more for Rodney Howard. I will say this, it is hard to hear in here. And Howard is shooting right into the student section. In their first game back for semester 2. Tie number 3. Who do you go through here offensively, Russ? Petway and Harris, both good options here in this half.
Yeah, and Aggies are going a little smaller lineup here, right? They've got 4 guards on the floor and Big Casey. But I think it'll be Femi going to the basket and looking for an assist.
Rawls runs the point, the former Hilltopper. That might have been off the shoe of Isiagu. They're going to say it was deflected by WKU. Rawls hands it off to Odukali, who tight ropes the midline. Odukali to the rim, stripped away, and it's going to stay with New Mexico State with 7 on the timer. And they're probably going to review this. Final minute here in the half. They're probably going to look at this at the monitor to see if it should be Aggie ball or if it should be Hilltopper ball, which will give Jason Hooten a chance to draw something up and save his final timeout.
Yes, and I wonder, I'll be interested to see if Steve Lutz does anything different defensively. Let's watch Femi Odukali, who's so good going to the basket. That might not look good for the Aggies there, though. What did you think, Adam?
There were a couple hands in there. It's hard to tell. And the call on the floor is Aggie ball, so there's going to need to be enough evidence to overturn it to make it Hilltopper ball.
And I think Femi thought he got fouled going at the basket there.
One of the questions here, too, Russ, is have the Aggies learned from their mistakes in late game situations throughout the year, right?
Well, that's we talked about finish strong, and they've certainly finished strong up to this point, but there's 45 seconds left. And even if it is Western Kentucky ball, the Aggies should get the ball back. If the Aggies can just get a stop, even if the Aggies do lose this ball, and I think they might, if they can just not hang their heads and get a stop. Oh, now from that angle, it looks like maybe it went off of
Lander.
Chris Lander, yeah. Boy, he's a heck of a player, isn't he, Chris Lander? He's been terrific tonight for the Hilltoppers. But this looks like it. Well, it's. And it's hard to tell whether Tyrone Marshall tipped that from our angle there either.
Looks like the officials have a verdict. At least initially it seemed that way, but we'll have a new official head of the monitor. But Rick Crawford, Jeb Hartness, and Michael Greenstein, the crew.
Well, either way, I don't think the Aggies should hang their head if it's not their ball. They're going to get each. It's a two. Each team is going to get a possession if things play out the way you would think that they would. See, the problem is we can't see from that angle whether Femi hit or not, although it's the typical great Aggie Vision crew. Gave us about every angle imaginable, but it was still sort of hard to tell.
I just go back to where you need enough evidence to overturn the call. It has to be conclusive evidence to change the call on the floor. And you have to wonder if whatever the call on the floor was here, they were going to stick with it.
Yeah, I hate to see
because there might not be enough.
I hate to see it come down to this. On the last play, they call Casey Isiagu for a foul before the ball's not even in play, and it's. I know the referees don't want to have that kind of footprint on the game, but they're going to have to tonight. They still don't seem very certain.
Western Kentucky basketball, so they will change the call on the floor. Odukali touched it last, and Western Kentucky will have possession. They have seen a 23-point second half lead evaporated.
Well, I think if the Aggies can get a stop here, they'll win the game. It all comes down to this stop. They're going to have to get this stop, not foul, and get the ball back if there's a miss.
Lander defended again by Harris, who's done a really good job on Lander here in the half. 14-second difference, game clock, shot clock. Lander going to work. Back to McHenry. Hasn't made a field goal in the game. A stab in a three-way short. Iziagu the rebound. Lob ahead for Harris. 6 seconds, Harris bounces for Odukali, turns the corner, finger roll, +1!
Femi Odukali with his spin move. Unbelievable comeback by New Mexico State. Unbelievable comeback. Watch Femi Odukali with his patented spin move. He's got such a great left hand. So he didn't get the call the last time, but there it is, Femi Odukali. Now, Adam, the Aggies they cannot give up a long pass here. If they can make Western Kentucky catch the ball in the backcourt, they'll have a good chance of winning this. If there's a long pass, if a long pass gets through, we might need Jerry Kill for the pass defense here.
The foul was on Newman, his fourth. And now Odukali, who has struggled all season from the free throw line, will try to give the Aggies a 3-point advantage. Hilltoppers have one timeout left, so it looks like Steve Lutz is telling his team, if you get a rebound, call a timeout.
It's almost the exact situation when the Aggies lost to the Lobos when in that famous game when Clayton Shields threw the 70-foot shot in. The Aggies missed the free throw. Then let's see if Femi can make this one.
Missed it. Babacar Faye, the rebound. Quick timeout. .3 came off for Steve Lutz in Western Kentucky.
Well, Femi missed 3 free throws in a row there, but he made the big basket to put the Aggies ahead.
If you're Western Kentucky, you have Christian Lander, who is as fast as anybody. You're just trying to get it to him, head start, sprint down the floor in less than 4 seconds and try to get a good look.
I think that's right, and I wonder if they should double team Chris. Well, but you know, and as we keep saying, Don McCoy has just hasn't been on his game tonight. But between the two of them, those are two speedster guards. I think the big thing is the Aggies have to make them catch the ball in the backcourt. If they throw a 50-foot pass, won't take enough time off the clock.
3.7 should be plenty of time though for Lander if he gets a head start and he's about 60 feet away from the rim.
Yeah, he'll get, but he'll have to take a three on the shoot a three on the run. I think what would really damage the Aggies is that well, this is just basic Lou Henson 101. I know what Lou would be drawing up in the huddle if he was Steve Lutz would be he'd want the long pass to take the pressure off the dribbler, and that may be the man there, Christian Lander, and he's been sensational tonight.
In case you're just joining us, New Mexico State trailed by as many as 23 early on in the half. They lead by 2. They've only led for 44 seconds the entire game.
Well, and I thought I was hoping that Jason Hooten would do this. He's putting Casey Iziagu on the ball to make it hard to throw the long pass. Now, don't let anyone get behind you, Aggies.
Both teams in the double bonus. Dante Allen will trigger it in.
It's going to be Landers going long here. Watch, Landers will go long. He's going to get a double screen here, and Landers will be going long. And it's a crazy prediction, but let's see.
Jason Hooten will use his final timeout. None left for Steve Lutz, by the way. So if they have issues trying to get this in, they do not have a timeout.
Well, that's a good call. But a real chess game going on here at the end.
If you're Jason Hooten right there, do you call the timeout because you wanted to see how they would line up?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it looks to me like there's going to be a double screen for Chris Landers to go long as we see Odukali with put on his Superman cape and save the day for the Aggies.
4 in double figures for WKU, led by Lander with 19, Marshall 16, 13 Newman, 10 for Fay. New Mexico State trying to hang on with one more defensive possession. Hilltoppers with 3.7 to work with, down 2.
Yeah, I think you're right. They're going to try and get to Landers on the run now, whether it's a long pass or just him sprinting up the court.
And if the Aggies hang on, this will go to show that no lead is safe. There's a 23-point advantage for the Hilltoppers at one juncture.
Looks like Femi's trying to sneak over, get an earful in the huddle, but it didn't happen. No, I want Femi to go back here.
No timeouts for the Hilltoppers.
There he goes long. There he goes long.
McHenry weaving, throws up a runner, short! One of the most impressive comebacks you will ever see. What a win for Jason Hooten's squad.
And pretty smart play by Steve Lutz to get the ball to McHenry, who's been his best player up to this point, but McHenry couldn't make it go down. He had me fooled. I thought it would go to Landers there at the end.
Russ, this could be a season changer.
Yes, and the Aggies have been so close so many times. They've had a bad loss at the pit. As we see McHenry on the run here, pretty nice crossover dribble there. But the Aggies have been so close. They lost badly at Kentucky. They lost badly at the pit. But there's been so many times they've been close near the end, and this time they're able to get over the hump.
And Russ, for those first 20 minutes, they probably couldn't have played much worse.
No, and it really, one thing I noticed when I watched Jason Hooten on the sideline, there's no quit in him, and it's hard to think that the Aggies are going to quit when he's battling so hard.
Time now for the Whataburger play of the game. And we had some plays in the second half. At one juncture, 3 straight threes for Carpenter. At one point, those could have been the Whataburger plays of the game. But Femi Odukali, who has struggled at times in late moments, Russ, came up clutch down the stretch to put the Aggies in front.
That was huge, and he struggled a little bit at the free throw line, but boy, with the game on the line, he went at the basket and really made it happen.
Odukali finishes with 11. The Aggies placed 4 in double figures. Russ Petway 19, Harris 18. Those are two guys who have had moments this year, but not moments like that. They stepped up big.
That's right, 37 points off the bench for Harris and Petway. Pretty impressive.
So now Saturday gets even bigger, doesn't it?
Well, you can just see a sense of relief on the Aggies' coaches' faces as well. As they've been so close so many times, and it's just exciting to see Jason Hooten's team pull this one out. I mean, that was quite a comeback, wasn't it?
Down 23, the Aggies roar all the way back. They come back and win it. They improved to 2-1 in Conference USA. They're going to host Middle Tennessee this weekend. The Blue Raiders losing by 9 right now at UTEP, so they could be winless when they come into Lou Henson Court this weekend. Wow, what a basketball game. Big thanks to our fantastic entire crew, led by our director, Vinny Conway, our producer, Rito Rodriguez, Alex Ramirez, our engineer, Kaylee Trujillo, our technical director, Christian Carose, Vala Chelus Pastrana, Anthony Casals, our stats, Tatiana Favela, our sideline reporter, and Russ Bradburn, my partner. Adam Young saying so long and good night from the Pan American Center. The Aggies come back from 23 down. They win it by a pair. Good night from the Pan American Center.